you doing? How you doing? Welcome back to Shut It. This is a very busy news week, but I like to focus on dumb news, and I found a doozy for you. Are you ready for it? I'm paid to be a stand-in girlfriend at my family Christmas dinner. I'll even wash dishes for a price. That's the headline. She's at the top of everyone's bachelor wish list is the tagline. Single men are frequently forced to stave off questions about their love lives when they head home for the holidays, but one inventive OnlyFans star is coming to their rescue. OnlyFans. Jessica Rebecca, 29, is willing to pose as a smitten girlfriend to men who will pay the right price. That's right. The Miami-based bombshell has some services costing up to $150 an hour. I'm proving a great service for the holidays for single guys, Rebecca wrote above a photo featuring 3 different packages on offer. All right, there's a picture of her. Cutie pie. There you go. Let's go. Single men who opt for a silver package must be prepared to pay Rebecca $250. Plus, give her a gift. Oh my God. Plus a gift. The gift is the money. In exchange, the curvaceous content creator will call in at a fella's family home for 2 hours to eat dinner and tell a few jokes. And she's a comedian. She's a hot comedian. All right. Those who fork over $450 for a gold package will be able to have Rebecca stay for 3 hours of a festive celebration. While there, she'll concoct a cute story about how she met the paying man, so his family is none the wiser that she is not a hire. Oh my God, this is so dumb. Meanwhile, men can pay her $600 for a platinum package, which will see the stunner pose as a loving girlfriend for 6 hours. All right. The former stripper will even say, "I love you" to the paying client in front of his family and plant a kiss on his cheek in front of the whole family. $600. I would just say, "I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, I'm gay." Maybe that would be better and you could save a lot of money, but let's read on. Not one to shy away from hard work, Rebecca will even pitch in to wash dishes for the family after the meal, making sure she appears every inch the devoted girlfriend. The buxom brunette was quickly hit with backlash from some ex-users who described the stunt as pathetic. This is a recipe for disaster, one detractor declared. However, other excited men admitted that they'd be lining up and emptying their pockets for a chance to get close to Rebecca. There you go. Not me. Checking my bank account right now, one Randy respondent enthused. That's an amazing deal. A second swooned over the prices. However, another horny man admitted he wanted more than just a kiss on the cheek from the brunette. "I need more in my platinum package," the ex-user complained, hinting that he at least wanted to lock lips with the OnlyFans under the mistletoe. And now we have to, you know what, go to the comments. Of course, we're going to the comments. We have to go to the comments. I don't know. This seems like clickbait to me. I'm going to say it. This seems like a clickbait article, and it's probably from an Australia periodical because they always lift from dumb, trashy news rags from Australia for some reason. Oh, Rupert Murdoch, right. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the thing that I find the most, I don't know, weird, off-putting, creepy, I guess, cringy, is concocting a story of how they met. Because if I come from a very large family, if there was like, let's say one of my brothers brought home one of these, this bombshell, I'd be like, there's no fucking way this hot person would ever date you. You're a loser. You're still living down in the basement. Like, you know what I mean? Like you left home when you were 40. How's this possible? I would be like, I don't know. Maybe she's an undercover cop or something, or maybe like you're some sort of like in some weird shady business, like drug mule business. But I would never believe that that is a girlfriend of one of my siblings. And then I would be the nosy, oh, where did you meet exactly? Oh, name me his favorite color. Name me his favorite football team. Name me the. And then it would be like, yeah, the gig is up. And you're just out of $600 to impress the family. What loser wants to impress their family that they're dating a bombshell? Like, that's kind of weird to me. That doesn't even make any sense. This is a weird suggestion that she come to your house. That's the most, that part of the whole thing that somebody would want to convince their family that they're dating a bombshell is just weird. I think more plausible would be somebody who is like a nerd, like a nerdy kind of like me, like a librarian type. And I'll be like, yeah, I'll pretend I'm your girlfriend. And, I will not do the dishes because that would be weird if I did the dishes as a guest. Like, what kind of crazy person would do the dishes who was invited as a girlfriend? Like to me, that's a red flag. If the girlfriend starts doing dishes and she's never met your family and she's doing the dishes, I'll be like, what the fuck's up with that girl? Is she on drugs? Is she stealing shit in the kitchen? I'll be like, get back here. Finish your pie. Have some coffee. You don't have to do dishes. You're a guest. What kind of maniac does dishes at the boyfriend's house? That to me is a red flag. These are things that I'd be like, put on a sweater. You know what I mean? It's Christmas. You don't have to wear that outfit, Roxanne. You don't have to put on the red light tonight. Okay. You can be you. You don't need to, I'd be like the savior boyfriend who was for hire, who paid the girlfriend $600 to give a kiss on the cheek under the mistletoe. This story is really creepy. At first, I'm sorry. At first I thought, this is a dumb article. I'm going to just do the dumb article because there's so many crazy stories going on in the news right now. This is the dumbest one I've seen. I'm going to do this. But now the more I think about it, this is kind of sinister. This is kind of weird. You're going to go to some stranger's house, pretend you're their girlfriend, make up anecdotal stories about how you met and run around their whole family. And you're a bombshell. The family, they're not dum-dums. They're going to be like, Nick, he's kind of been a loser his whole life. And how did this happen? Are you guys on drugs? How did you meet? Like, I would have a lot of questions. If you've never dated, if you've been not dating, and then all of a sudden you bring home this beautiful woman, there's a lot of questions to be had. That's all I'm saying. Get ready for it. So don't think, I'm just going to pay this bombshell $600 and my family will get off my back. It's a tough economy. It's a gig economy. If you got it, the jugs, sell the jugs. Do you know what I mean? If you don't, then sell foot pics. That's a whole other gig economy. If if it's not working up here, try down there. Feet pics works. That's a huge thing, I guess. I don't know. I don't do it. I would not do that to my worst enemy. I have the worst feet in the world. But I think there is also a whole other slew level of not so hot. I think you just hire school teachers, like divorcees. Yeah. Nick and I are dating. We met at a bookstore, coffee shop. He likes self-help, make millions. And I like Harry Potter and romance novels. And we were just in line waiting for the bathroom because it's a unisex bathroom. And we got to talking about what favorite bathroom we like in our neighborhood, public bathrooms or something like that. But this is impossible. Where did you meet her? At a strip club? She's an ex-stripper. Be like, hey, mom, dad, siblings, meet, what's her name again? Jessica. Yeah, Jessica and I go way back. We met at a strip club. And they were like, of course you did. Of course you did. You would never, ever get that quality of a woman anywhere else, except if you had to pay her. And we know you're paying her. You're paying her at a strip club. And maybe she felt sorry for you. That's the good story. That's the story of how you met. because you didn't meet her. She's not going out with you ever. Okay, let's read the comments. Sorry. CRM114 says, I must assume that both parties involved are of age, hence no illegal activity. Morally questionable, legally sound. Welcome to the society we have earned, not made. Time to rethink our values. Otherwise, we should not be surprised if we are deemed as a society morally offensive. All right. Ex-New Yorker says, also known as a happy ending. Okay. And then Diane M says, not certain how she will fit around the Xmas table. Will she cover up for no extra cost? Nonetheless, family expectations might be strained. All right. I said the same thing. I was like, maybe if she wears a sweater. I still think that librarians for hire would be a good take on that, or secretaries for hire, or I don't know, board members for hire, or anyway, middle management, HR for hire. Instead of this, you go a little bit more plausible of how you met. You know what I mean? Alan Bolowski says, welcome addition to the Hippo family dinner. Wow, that's shade. Okay. Nunn says, was curious if the rear mounted wide load sign was included in the price. You guys are assholes. All right. Bill Hart says, so long as I don't have to pay by the pound. Wow. Okay. I think she looks gorgeous. Haps01 says, okay, I'll try again. Escort by another name. And Frank Marrow says, you can't forget it's a sumo culture. They pay by the pound over there. Sort of like, tuna. All right. You guys are harsh, man. You guys are really harsh. It's the Christmas spirit. I mean, a lot of guys like that. People are getting the BBLs to be like that. So hush. FKA says she's definitely been to a lot of dinners. That's for sure. You guys are mean. And the Fox Bug says, sorry, it would never work with my relatives. My family knows I would never date an elephant. You guys, stop. Okay, I get it. She's bigger. Simple says, another one who has way overvalued her stock price. And Just Askin says, my anaconda don't want none unless it's got buns, hun. All right. And then Eddie Munster says, Generation X, Generation Y, and introducing Generation Just Plain Sad. And P. Lee says, and a side dish of the clap for free. That's pretty good. Yeah. All right, you guys are really digging in deep here. Dexter Fishpaw says, not only will she help with the washing the dishes, by her appearance, it also seems she will eat everyone's table scraps, plus any remaining leftovers from the dinner. Unsubscribe Me says, I'll give you $450, skip the dinner in the family. Uh-huh. And Matlow Wardhouse says, if my son came home with this gal, I would know he had lost his mind. And then TR responded to that and said, and lost something else too. But-um-bum. John 69, it looks like it would be a dangerous situation to be between her and a buffet table. Enough with the fat phobia, you guys. This is too much. Okay. And Ernestine Howard says, I find her to be voluptuous. And she has a pretty face. All right, Ernestine. Look, I agree with you. I think she's cute. Pierre Hoare says, I'm just not into the whole pear-shaped thing. And blah, 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 blah. A lot of comments. A lot of mean comments. And then Judith Delaney, we'll end on this. Judith Delaney says, I have to find a better news source. Amen. Amen, Judith. I'm with you on that one. But this is what we do. We go to dumb news of the week. Have you, what are your plans for Christmas? Would you bring home a OnlyFans model to your Christmas dinner? If you, maybe you have done that. Comment below. Let's hear your story. Did your parents go, wait a second, I think I saw her on OnlyFans, and maybe one of your family members subscribes to her OnlyFans. I don't even know what the OnlyFans is. I honestly don't even understand it. but I know people make a lot of money from it because they're attractive and they sort of like have an exclusivity to like look at you, I guess. I don't know. You can look at me scroll the New York Post. How about that? That could be my only fan New York Post. And I could just pick out dumb news and then just laugh and share it with you. I feel bad for the guy who has to hire somebody to bring to his parents' house. I mean, I can't even imagine like who would be in that situation. I could see somebody like, maybe you're working at this real corporate job or you're in like a political world and you have to bring somebody to your function and you don't have anybody to bring. So you would hire somebody, right? Because I actually know somebody. I went to college with somebody who actually did that. This is a true story. Gather around, children. So when I was in college, way back in Philadelphia, I had a friend, and we'll call her Kim. Her name was Kim, and she had like a high-powered political father, and Kim was always like dressed really well. She always had like really, I don't know. She just had an air of like, she had money. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're in college, you ate ramen noodles. That's what I did. You make up and, you add things to your ramen noodles. You try to get by. You eat crappy food and you figure it out. Pasta, a lot of pasta. Anyway, Kim, I always noticed she was eating like sushi and all this stuff. And I go, how do you do it, Kim? How are you managing? And she goes, Jen, basically, my dad, I do this escort work where I escort high political guys to political events. And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, I have to mingle because her dad is this big politician and I have to mingle and that's how I get paid. And I go, oh, that sounds awesome. Like you just go to parties? And she's like, yeah, you go and you mingle and you eat canopies and they have like a formal speech and then you just chit chat. And like sometimes there's somebody from out of town that doesn't have a guest, so I'll be their guest. And it's, it's very kind of fun, but formal fun. And I go, oh my God, can you get me that job? Because I'm working at friggin' bus tabling at a diner down the street for chump change. And she's like, oh my God, I can't make you one of these political escorts, but if anything opens up, I'll let you know. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And so she leaves. And what do? This is before the cell phones. I go to my yellow pages and I open up the yellow pages and I just look up escort. Swear to God, this is a true story. And I look up escort and I call and I'm like, oh, it's right down. It's not far from where I live in Philly. And I call up the escort service, right? And I go, hey, I'd like to apply for a job. And the woman on the other end of the phone, she goes, well, that sounds great. We just so happen to have an opening tomorrow. And I go, wow, tomorrow. So I was like, this is amazing. And it's right like 2 or 4 blocks away from where I live. So I typed up my resume and I added all like I was a theater major, philosophy minor. I did all the jobs. I put in I worked at a diner as a busgirl. I worked as a babysitter. I worked as a camp counselor. I was a counselor. I worked at the bingo hall at my church. I put all that in there. I put in I was like a sophomore at Temple University. I put that in there. All the plays that I did, all the Shakespeare's, all that stuff. And I got on my 10-speed the next day, and I'll never forget it like it was yesterday. I got on my 10-speed. I had on my little baseball cap. I had on my vintage raincoat, and because it was raining, and I rode my 10-speed down to Vine Street in Philadelphia. And it was kind of cold. It was kind of a cold day, and it was kind of in a sketchy area. I'm gonna say it, but I was so optimistic. When you want something to, you want something so badly that you ignore all the red flags. Well, that was me. I was so desperate to be this escort and with these prominent politicians that I just kind of ignored it. And I was like, okay, some of these buildings are dilapidated, but maybe it's a startup. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's a startup. We don't know. You got to give them a chance. So I get there. I knock on the door. This young woman opens the door, and it's a big, like a living room of a house, basically. It's a living room. It's a big sectional couch with all these young women kind of dressed, I'm going to say scantily, but it was high heat in there. It was hot, So, and they all were wearing like tank tops and kind of skimpy clothes, and all on the sectional watching Wheel of Fortune. And I remember it was like an bright orange couch with shag carpeting, watching Wheel of Fortune. And I'm standing there with my resume and my backpack and my rosy cheeks. And the girls are like kind of snickering to one another, like kind of sizing me up. And I'm kind of competitive, and I'm like, all right, bring it, because I'm gonna get your job, bitches, right? So I swear to God, this is a true story. So they're like, you're gonna have to wait for Solange, and I waited for a while. I was watching Wheel of Fortune, standing there, and then this older woman comes in, and she goes, "Oh, Jennifer, you're here," and I go, "Yeah, I'm here for the interview." And she goes, "Oh, come on in the hallway." And this is another huge red flag. All of them were red flags, but she gets a folding chair. And as I'm walking down the hallway, I see numbers on doors, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was like, okay. And then I sit, and she gets these 2 folding chairs, and I hand her my resume. And I swear to God. And I remember her face. She looked like a bombshell. Like we were talking about bombshells. She looked back in her day, she was a total bombshell. But then at the time, she looked like, she sort of had these pockmark acne scars, but blonde hair, buxom, like really pretty. And she looked like a mom, a safe lady. And Solange was she seemed like a nice mom. Anyway, so she takes my resume and she reads it, and she's like looking at, "Oh, you're a theater major." And I go, "Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of doing a play." I was doing the Midsummer Night's Dream, and it was supposed to take place in the 1950s with like this new wave of feminist bent. And she was like, she just ignored that. And then she just interrupts me and she goes, "Oh, but those freckles, they are going to love those freckles." And I go, "Who's they?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" I guess politicians like freckles. I don't know. And because I just created this whole, she works with politicians for some reason. And then she goes, "Oh, so, okay, this all looks good." She's looking at everything on the resume, and she's like, "All right, so do you want to work," she goes, "Do you want to work in or out?" And I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Do you want to work in-house, out-house?" I go, "Out." And I go, "I want to work out." She goes, "Are you sure?" And I go, "Absolutely. I want to go out. I want to go to the parties and have canapes and wear heels and, meet politicians." And then she just stops, and she goes and looks at me, and she goes, Oh, sweetheart." And I go, What? And she goes, Do you know what this is?" And I go, Oh. And then it all clicked in my head like a film, like the ladies on the couch, like with the little skimpy shirts, the numbers on the doors. And I was like, oh, and my face was like, I could feel it burning, like you could fry an egg on it. And I was like, oh, and I go, "But I called, I asked for an interview, and she goes, "Sweetie, you could have been a cop. I'm not going to tell you over the phone what this is." And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm in an interview at a whorehouse, basically an escort service for prostitution." And I took back my resume, and I swear to God, I was shaking. I ran out down the hallway towards the door, and all the girls were on the couch. They were but this time they weren't like, they were laughing out loud and snickering and saying shit. I can't remember. It was a while ago. And I hopped on my 10-speed, and I fucking bicycled back to my apartment. And I was like, wow, I'm late for my bus girl job. And my God, I almost got a job as a hooker. And that's how these things happen. It was like a Lifetime movie, except I was not an actor, and it was not a script, and it was a real dumb dumb move on my part, but it was a real thing that happened. And that's how these things happen. That's how these things happen. And I actually never told anybody that story until years and years later. I was mortified. And Kim, I never told her that I went behind her back and tried to. And she never did give me one of those politician party jobs. And in fact, when I look back on it, I'm thinking, I don't even think that was a real job. I think she didn't want to tell me that her dad is rich and, that's why she eats sushi. Moral of the story, there's no job where you get paid to eat canapes and hang out with politicians. That's called you're a prostitute. But that's a true story. And so, study hard, go to school, or do an OnlyFans and go to people's houses that you pretend to date.